An update on my weight loss is today's topic. Hey, what's shaking bacon? I hope you're doing well. So today's video is going to be more about update generally for what I've been doing. So I just came back from New York a week ago, about a week and a couple days ago, and I did a lot of walking there. I had a lot of fun doing all that walking, and I did a little bit of exercise while I was there as well. I really relied on walking to be my main form of exercise. I did a lot of walking leading up to that trip so I wouldn't be exhausted on it, and I've been keeping the walking up since. But something that's been happening from all the walking is something that brought me right back to a few years ago when I was getting kidney stones. I was getting this ache in my mid back on my left, and I've been getting that the last week. So I haven't been walking as much the last few days because of that. Now I noticed my toes been bothering me a little bit too. So I thought, okay, I've been plateaued for a while. So my body's going through healing because I'm doing everything pretty good. I'm getting a proper amount of protein and fat. I actually have tweaked that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Cutting back a little bit on my HIIT workouts because I want to make sure this isn't a cortisol issue that's helping me to hold on to this weight. I ended up going to a higher fat diet a few months ago, and I put on 22 pounds, lost a little bit of it. I lost about 10, 15 pounds of that, and I averaged out at about 325, which is about 17 or 18 pounds higher than my lowest since this journey began. Now, the interesting thing about that was I trusted the system. I got to the point where having 4 pounds of regular ground beef was too much, though I felt so good doing it. I cut back to 3 pounds, and I didn't really lose that much weight doing that. Now, calorically, I was at the same amount of calories that I was at 4 pounds of lean ground beef. So I went to a 80-20 ground beef, and that's counted by calories. So 80% fat, 20% protein. And the thing is, even though I was making sure to eat all that fat because I was making ground beef and then I would put it in a bowl and I would make sure to have all that fat that came out of the meat while I was cooking it, I still was probably a little bit on the lean side. So that challenge ended at the end of June. I was thinking about doing another one either August or September, and I might just wait till September because I want to see where this toe and back thing's going. I have been taking allopurinol, and that's a daily gout medication. I'm on a much lesser dose than I used to be a few years ago, probably by about a third, but it's still a relatively strong dose. But what helped most of all with my gout back then was when I started taking a product called berberine. So we're talking back in 2020. I started taking berberine, and that was the last time I had a gout attack. And I wouldn't call these gout attacks, but I am noticing a bit of, stiffness in my toe and an ache in my back over my left kidney. So it's a familiar sensation. And I thought, you know what? I've been at a plateau for a while again. So maybe I need to tweak what's happening with my hormones and maybe go back on berberine for a little while. So I'm not really doing a challenge for the next month and a half, but I am making sure in the next little while to get berberine again. So I want to make sure that I'm managing my blood sugars. Berberine is a natural product that does what metformin does, and it lowers your blood sugar, which helps prevent you from getting an insulin spike. So the good thing about that is when I did that, I stopped getting gout attacks. I managed my gout through managing my metabolic syndrome. And even though my blood sugar was good at the time because I was doing a carnivore diet, I thought my insulin must still be screwed up because I read about a correlation between metabolic syndrome and gout. So I started taking berberine, and that was the last time I had a gout attack, and that was like May 2020. So I finally figured out that problem after years of having gout and dealing with gout by that point almost on a weekly basis. It was so difficult. So for the last couple weeks, I've gone to a higher fat diet. So the last few weeks, I haven't been doing a lion diet. I've been doing a regular carnivore diet. So the problem with that is there's lots of leaner meats I'm getting on this carnivore diet. And I'm compensating by getting more fat in my diet through butter. And doing that brought my weight back up to 330 pounds. And I was like, oh, well, I kind of expected that. That's what happened last time. I lowered my protein and I've increased my fat. I think what's going to happen, and I might be wrong, but I think what's going to happen is I'm going to continue to lose weight, and I'm going to do this till I'm satisfied with the amount of food I'm eating. I'm not going to go hungry at any point through the day, but I have lowered my protein. I'm not doing as much weightlifting as I was, but I am keeping it up. I'm doing HIIT workouts maybe once or twice a week. I'm walking my dog, but not quite as much just because my toe's bothering me. I notice a direct correlation to long walks and then an achy back or toe the next day. And that's possibly a gout issue. So that's why I'm taking taking this berberine for the next month, and that's going to try and manage my blood sugars. Now, intermittent fasting aggravates gout because lots of people will say, well, you should start intermittent fasting, and that's a great advice. But the problem is it's not really that great for your thyroid, and it's not really good if you suffer from gout. So intermittent fasting doesn't really agree with me. Now, I feel great when I intermittent fast, but it doesn't agree with my gout. So my gout is something I want to make sure isn't coming back. I'm just extra cautious about that because I got kidney stones from my gout last time. So when I weighed myself today, I went from 330 pounds, and I've been at that 330 pounds since I started adding this butter a couple weeks ago, and I'm having no more or less in calories. But what happened was today I weighed myself and I was 325, and I thought, okay, so I lost 5 pounds relatively quick. That could be from the high fat. That could have been a result from all the walking I've done in the last week and a half. It could be, and it's possible, a bit of muscle mass or lean mass loss because I haven't been doing as much working out. That's entirely possible. Until I go for another bod pod exam, I can't rule that out. But I've still been doing these HIIT exercises, so I don't think that's going to be too much of the issue. I do know when I leveled off at 325, 5 pounds of that was lean mass from the last time I got my bod pod exam. So really, I was only up about 3 pounds in body fat. So that's not bad. I didn't consider that a fail, even though I sort of went in the wrong direction. 3 pounds, it was a learning experience. And I'm going to see how this increased fat goes. The one thing I am worried about is people, when they increase their fat, they often lose weight fast. And I'm not opposed to losing weight fast, as long as I'm not losing too much lean mass. Now, that's inevitable. When you start to lose weight, you lose lean mass. And the whole goal of everything I've been doing here is to maintain my lean mass as I lose weight. Now, overall, I've really only lost, in total, I've lost about 20 pounds in the last 11 months. Hasn't been much being a strict carnivore diet, but I have lost over 4 inches on my waist, so I'm not complaining. It's a slow part of the process. You don't always go at the same speed with weight loss, but it's part of the fitness. I really enjoy being able to run up a flight of stairs 2 steps at a time and only having to take a breath or two to get my wind back. So I like that. I'm not huffing and puffing for the next minute. So I want to keep this activity up. I really like those HIIT workouts. I'm thinking about switching over to doing my ski erg or my rowing machine if walking starts aggravating my toe. So hopefully it'll cause less inflammation from less movement of the joints, if it is indeed gout. I'm just being extra cautious here because I don't want to go down that road again. So I'm going to keep this up unless I get some issues. And I want to go into September with another challenge, like I did last year when I started all my videos. In September 1st, I started a 4-month challenge last year, and it was a lion diet. I'll probably do a lion diet again, so I can have steak and ground beef and really enjoy it. I'm going to start having more fat with it, assuming it doesn't bother my body in any way, shape, or form. If my weight goes up, I'm going to let that happen, unless it just skyrockets. That's different. But I am expecting my weight to stay where it is or go up. I think my body has got to adapt to the higher fat. And now that it has, I hopefully will start losing weight. Like I said, I'm down 5 pounds. I'm putting a lot of trust in the berberine since I've been taking it the last week. So my toe wasn't really bothering me too much today. So I feel like I've gotten past this hurdle, but I'm going to find out if I do some activity and my toe bothers me again. I might have to rely on weightlifting because what happens is the reason why some walking or more steady state cardio, I usually try and do HIIT workouts for my cardio, but if I do any long walks, the reason why that might aggravate my gout is if I'm burning fat as fuel, which is what you want, it's making the uric acid back up in the bloodstream because the kidneys can't flush it out. So I think it's a little too much all at once, and I have to moderate the exercise. I may, unfortunately, and I don't want to do this, but I may get to the point where I try a window of time with no exercise just to not push my body for too much weight loss all at once. I may lose muscle doing that, and I'm really not too excited about that. But I'm open to that if that's what it has to come down to. Now, there is something I'm trying in the next few weeks, and I have to admit, it's a little odd, and I'm not going to explain it unless it works, and I'm going to explain it after the fact. I did something a few years ago, back in 2019, where my thyroid got 20% stronger. After 25 years of my thyroid getting weaker and weaker and weaker because I have hypothyroidism, I was doing intermittent fasting at the time. I was doing a zero-carb diet, and I was working out on my ski erg about 2 or 3 times a week for about 20 minutes, and it was a pretty good intense workout. I would try and do a certain distance on the ski erg. I'll make a video sometime of what it's like to use a ski erg. I'll make it like a really short video. So I was also taking iodine, and I thought it was the iodine that was starting to correct my thyroid. Well, here's the hole in that logic. I've done intermittent fasting since. I've been doing carnivore consistently. I've been exercising. I've been taking iodine up until maybe the last month or so. And you know what? My thyroid hasn't improved anymore. And the reason why I stopped with this extra ingredient in the mix was because I started getting these heart palpitations. And I thought, I wonder if that's my thyroid, if my medication's too strong. Sure enough, it was. I stopped taking that one extra product. I wasn't taking it to help my thyroid, but I'm looking back now and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I just remembered maybe a week or two ago, I was also taking this one other product. And I finally remembered after all this time, because I couldn't recreate these results to help my thyroid, that there was this one other product I was taking unrelated to my thyroid, but one of the side effects of it was potential heart problems, and not causing heart problems, but like you could get these palpitations. I thought, well, okay, so I stopped taking that, and that's when I got my blood tested because I was getting those palpitations. And sure enough, at the time, I chalked it up to the exercise and the iodine, and a great combination of that and zero carb. The only thing missing from that is that extra ingredient. So either way, in a few weeks, we'll talk about it. And if it didn't work, or it did work, I'll talk about it anyway. But it's a pretty stupid thing, to be honest. Don't worry, it's nothing risky. But nonetheless, I want to give it a shot again. I'm going to implement that in the next few days, and I bet you it'll take maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before I start getting any symptoms of my thyroid being hyperactive, which means my medication will have to be lowered again, if I'm right. It's a bit of a gamble, but I think that's what it really was, to tell you the truth. So that's basically the update. I'm keeping active. I don't have a set routine that's really strict like I was in my other challenges, because this isn't a challenge I'm doing right now. This is just me being generally active throughout the day. Day to day, I have a pretty relaxed, easygoing lifestyle. So I got to make sure to keep some activity up every day. I'm looking forward to this new challenge I'll be starting in September. Hopefully this isn't a gout or uric acid issue with my kidneys and my toe. I think the fact that I'm feeling both makes me leery that it might be, but I'm being cautious about it. So we'll go from there. My uric acid has never been more than marginally high, to the point where my doctors have said in the past, I don't think it's gout that you have. So thanks for tuning in. Take care. We'll touch base soon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow my progress, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. I'm going to be doing an interview with Kelly Hogan in the near future for my 100th episode. So I hope you tune into that. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you watching. Take care.